House of Ruth is a battered women's and children's shelter in Baltimore, Maryland. They do a lot of programs to help victims of domestic violence.
Provide legal services, and they provide counseling for both women and children. And they have both emergency shelter and transitional housing.
They also do Ruth's Closet, where they'll have like clothes for women that may need it. So far I have not had any interactions with them. We just did the 5K, so I have collected all the money from that, and when we go over Thanksgiving break, before Thanksgiving break, I'll be contacting them about how they would like us to give them the money that we raised for them. Ideally, I would like to go into like an office if they will allow me to meet with them and talk with them about more fundraisers in the future, but I understand if we couldn't do that because of confidentiality. But I will be in contact with them over our Thanksgiving break when I'm home. First year that we've had it, the course entirely on campus, and it was still very successful. We've had more sponsors this year than we've had in the past, which was really, really exciting. We had a lot of money raised, a lot of runners came out and had a lot of fun.
The 5K went really well. It included a trail around all of campus. We had about 40 runners running.
I had a lovely stroll in the 5K. It was really nice, actually. I love this campus. It's so beautiful, and I got to see parts of the campus that I didn't know existed, and it was really nice. It was a lot of fun to do. I'll probably do it again.
We have a lot of alum that come back who are really enthusiastic, so that's always really nice to see.
When we came in here, obviously we were told about House of Ruth and what they do and what we do for them, but to take it one step further and actually do something for them showed me that we're more than just talk.
It really showed me that they cared because they were taking the time to introduce us to what it meant to them, and it was really eye-opening in that way.
We're showing these girls that aren't even a part of our organization yet that this is so important to us. If you come into our organization, this is who we are. This is what we do.
House of Ruth is so important. It's really important to show solidarity for these women and families that are affected by domestic violence. It's such a huge social issue, and there really is not a whole lot being said or done about it, but House of Ruth is really good about helping these local women. I really like that they're based in Baltimore. I like that they're a Maryland program. I love that they have a shelter, and I was reading online about it, and they said like even when the shelter fills up, they hate to turn families away, so they'll do everything in their power to make room in the shelter or find them other resources, and I just love that. I love how they really go above and beyond to help women.
I believe that it is important to be in a sorority that supports an organization like House of Ruth because I'm a woman myself, and I have gone through hard times myself, and I don't like when other people go through it, and I think that it's really good that we have organizations like this that help bring women together and there's a community for them.
Definitely really firmly believe in the idea of women giving back to other women, and I love that we do that, and I love that that's our main philanthropy. You know, sexual assault, domestic violence is like such a common thing that happens all the time, and like yes, there's becoming more awareness about it, but I mean so many women out there still like aren't believed and still, you know, can't get justice or can't get help or something like that. And I think it's great that House of Ruth is like helping these women and giving them a voice, and they just help so many people, and I love that we're helping them, and I think by helping them and having them be our philanthropy, we're raising awareness towards this issue, and because it's a really big one, and yes, it's gotten more attention lately, but I still think it still hasn't gotten nearly enough.
I had never even heard of the House of Ruth before coming to this school. I actually have never even heard of them before rounds. That was literally the first time I was ever exposed to House of Ruth, and I have loved every second of it because obviously I'm from Virginia, so there's a lot of stuff that I sort of miss out on here and I don't get being here. And especially with the school being so small, there's so many people from the surrounding communities that know of House of Ruth. And when I was exposed to it, I felt like I was sort of being immersed in a Maryland culture, but in a very meaningful part of it. And I feel like I've been able to take the House of Ruth with me. So the House of Ruth isn't just with me here in this club room. The House of Ruth is with me wherever I go as a sister of Phi Alpha Mu. And I've been able to share that with my family and with my friends in Virginia. And even though like no one I know at home knows of House of Ruth, they do now. I, coming to college, have gotten a real reality check because growing up, I never really sort of have been exposed to victims of domestic violence, especially close friends and family. But coming to college, I know I can name countless people that I know that have been victims. And that's just something that I was never expecting. And crisis centers are so important because it's such a real issue.
My dad is an addict. All my life he's been using narcotics and abusing alcohol. I don't have many memories of my childhood. I don't remember any of the good stuff. I remember sleeping in the car night after night with my mom and my 3 other siblings with the car off because we couldn't let my dad know where we were hiding. I remember making up excuses in my head when I would have to tell my teachers why I didn't do my homework again, since I couldn't tell them I left my books on the table and didn't bring them with me in the car where we slept. If Dad came home before 4, it was going to be a good night. If it got to be 6:30, things were going to be bad, so I had to make sure I eat and get my shoes ready in case we need to go. I always hated 6:30. I remember being 8 years old and calling the cops on my dad because he was choking my mom after we had an assembly at school teaching us how to call 911. I remember calling the cops a separate time when my dad started to throw things at my sister, and they did not come till 3 hours later when my dad had already drove off. One time, when very young and it got really ugly, they told us we needed to stay at a shelter in case he comes back and tries to hurt us. They told us to go to the shelter that was close by. They would help us get our stuff together and they would protect us if there was anything to happen. That place was the House of Ruth. My mom told me all about how helpful and nice the people at House of Ruth were and how they genuinely wanted to support us. They offered to help my mom file charges against my dad and told her all the options we had available to us. When things got ugly, the House of Ruth saved me.